Hey Samvang, this is Ria from Samaya. Now we are going to discuss about SA 300, planning and audit of financial statements. As we always do, first we'll see the objectives of the auditor under the standard. The objective of the auditor is to plan the audit so that it will be performed in an effective manner. That is, effective means getting the desired result, getting what we wanted. Auditor shall update and change the overall audit strategy and audit plan as necessary during the course of the audit. When we do audit strategy and audit plan prior to starting of the audit, but even during the audit, if they have to update with a having of new information or sufficient appropriate audit evidence so that it would demand the audit strategy and audit plan some changes, you have to update that and even the audit procedures with regards to that audit plan. Planning is not a discrete phase. It is not at the discretion of the auditor or the management or with the engagement letter. It is a continual and iterative process. It's a continual process. Iterative process is like repetition, repeating the work that was already done or repeating the work several times. That is what they're talking about, updating of the overall audit strategy and audit plan. In other words, the overall audit strategy and audit plan remain the auditor's responsibility. It is the responsibility of the auditor. It's not a discretionary fees. It is not the discretionary or the auditor fees. Now, with that said, we'll move on to SA 300 series with regards to preliminary engagement activities as per SA 210 and 220. SA 210 is agreeing to the terms of audit engagement. SA 220 is quality control for an audit of financial statement. You have to write what all things you remember in SA 210 and 220. You need not read it from here. Is it the performing the audit or performing procedures required by SA 220? What are those? Evaluating compliance with ethical requirements like independence, etc. And we have, remember, whatever you think or you could write with regards to SA 220 with all the quality control procedures, but that has to be followed during the audit of a financial statement, and establishing an understanding of terms of engagement with regards to SA 210, like communicating with predecessor auditor, etc. And in establishing the overall audit strategy, what the auditor has to do. What is his objectives? He has to form overall audit strategy and audit plan. While establishing audit strategy, what he has to do? He has to identify the characteristics of the engagement that defines the scope. What he has to check? He has to identify the scope of the engagement and why the auditor had went to the entity to form an opinion on the financial statements and give an audit report. So he has to ascertain the reporting objectives also and the factors that significant in directing the engagement team efforts. While doing the overall audit strategy, what he could do, he has to find out the factors that could direct the engagement team efforts, like significant matters, etc., like complexity of the transactions. All these factors were identified to direct the engagement team efforts. Consider the results of preliminary engagement activities. Preliminary engagement activities were all the 200 series activities, like agreeing to the terms and communicating to predecessor auditor or checking the quality control procedures, etc. Ascertain the nature, timing, and extent of the resources. Resources is a personal or auditor expert or use of the work of internal auditor, any kind of things that the auditor uses. For the software also, obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence regarding opening balances. In the overall audit strategy, what he has to do, auditor, he has to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence with regards to opening balances also. What he has to do, identify scope and reporting of certain reporting objectives and factors that significant in directing the engagement team's effort, like a risk of material misstatement or complexity or a lack of internal controls, efficiency in the internal controls. These are the factors they're talking about, and results of preliminary engagement activities, nature, timing, extent of resources, and sufficient and appropriate audit evidence with regards to opening balance. And what's the second duty he has with regards to SS 300 is to develop an audit plan. What he has to do, the nature, timing, extent of planned risk assessment procedures as per SA 315. SA 315 is you have to identify and assess the risk of material misstatements through understanding the entity and its environment. What you have to do, you have to know till what extent the risk assessment procedures or planned risk assessment procedures have to be done. What does audit plan consist of? Audit plan consists of audit procedures. That's it. And the nature, timing, extent of planned further audit procedures. They're asking about planned risk assessment procedures and planned further audit procedures. When we use further audit procedures, when we find any kind of information which regards some extra effort to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, which cannot be achieved through planned risk assessment procedures and other planned audit procedures which do not have a risk there, risk of material misstatement. They were normal audit procedures that have to be followed. These are all the three kinds of audit procedures that have to be followed while developing an audit plan. And what the documentation, what the auditor has to document as per SA 300, what all the things he had done has to be documented. What he had done overall audit strategy, he did audit plan, and he had done also some changes to that overall audit strategy or audit plan, like updating and being a continued iterative process. So he has to document that overall audit strategy, audit plan, any kind of significant changes in that audit strategy or audit plan. And why we have to do audit strategy or overall audit strategy or audit plan, what are the benefits for that, how it helps the auditor. It helps the auditor to devote appropriate attention to important areas. Yes, with the factors that he had determined to direct the engagement team efforts, he could find what all the areas, all the important areas to devote attention. That's one thing. And second thing, identify and resolve potential problems on a timely basis. You see, you have to make changes and update the overall audit strategy, audit plan. What is overall audit strategy or audit plan? Audit plan consists of audit procedures. Why audit procedures? To solve, resolve, or put some remedial actions to remedial actions for all the problems that he had found on a timely basis. He has to update whenever he finds a need for that. And properly organize and manage the audit engagement performed in an effective and efficient manner. Effective is achieving the desired result. Efficient is economical, being economical. And how long the audit team or has to be worked, or whether we have to use any kind of internal auditors, or we could have to go for external legal opinion or auditors expert. We have to also check, could organize or manage that engagement, audit engagement, and assisting in selection of engagement team members depending upon their qualifications and competence, and coordination of work performed by the auditors, and direct and supervision of engagement team members' work and review their work. This is done mostly by the engagement partner. These are all the benefits, like devote attention to important areas, resolve problems on timely basis, organize, manage audit engagement in effective and efficient. This with regards to that engagement, and all the three here were with regards to the engagement team members, like selection of engagement team members, coordination of the work they have done, and direct supervision of the engagement team members and reviewing their work. And with that said, we have completed our SA 300 series. And leave a like and do share it with your friends, and please do subscribe. And we are planning how to write audit answers from April 4th till 20, so that we could write it in our examination, form an outline on how to write answers with regards to each chapter. It would be very helpful for you in your last month of the audit, for preparation of audit, so that you could retain long and retrieve fast. And what's our motto? No mnemonics, retrieve fast and retain long. Thank you. Please do share it with your friends.